Hey, it's Anna. Welcome back to my channel, and it is the final readathon of 2023. I'm really proud of myself for doing consistent readathons all throughout the years. I am excited for this last one. This one is going to be, I think, one of my more structured readathon in terms of I have in general what I already want to do each day and what I want each day to focus on. So for Friday today, I am working, and then my friend wants a copy of A Study in Drowning, which I think is available at my local Barnes & Noble, and the hardcover sale is still going on. So I think I'm going to make a trip and go and get that for her because I think I have some money in rewards, and there's also one other book I might want to get while I'm there. So I might just do another little perusal because when I went to the hardcover sale earlier this week, I only had like 25 minutes because we had an appointment. So I kind of want to browse around more, see what else I can find. So today is going to be more of the audiobooks, and currently I'm halfway through one audiobook, You Again. I am really enjoying this. I have listened and read a ton of fantasy in December so far, so having more of a contemporary romance that features kind of like more of an awkward, kind of arrogant, rude main male character, and then this very free-flowing female main character is definitely refreshing. And then the next book that I have already rented is Wretched by Emily McIntyre, and that's part of the Never After. This is book 3 in the series. I have already read books 1 and 2. You don't need to read them as a series. They all feature different, like, very loose interpretation of fairy tales. I actually don't know what this one is about. I'm just determined to get through a series, so that's why we have this. But I also know, since it's a darker romance, it is also a departure from the fantasy that I've been listening and reading most of this month. However, if there is a bigger break in work today where I can't really go to Barnes & Noble's because it's like 40 minutes away, I do have some physical books that I would prefer to pick up, mainly because I have a lot of physical books already started. First, we have The Dragon's Promise. This is all I have left to read. I don't know how I stopped myself at this point, but to be honest, I feel like that's one of my comments regarding this book, is that I feel like there were so many open holes, and now the author's trying to close them all, but there could have been one less. There could have been one less subplot, but otherwise I am still really enjoying this, so hopefully gonna finish this today. If not, Saturday is going to be our main physical book reading day, so I will finish this then. I also want to throw it back to Maybird from like 2 readathons ago or something like that. I'm still at the same spot. I remember where I am, which is good, but I do want to finish this and kind of wrap up that reread for 2023 to say I officially reread a series in 2023, especially because I have other rereads planned for 2024. And then I do have our book club book. This book is part of like the St. Martin's Press boycott, where we're not talking about books on social media, so I will be most likely finishing this one. I have a lot to say about this book that's not good, and so it'll be really interesting whenever I do get to talk about it after the boycott, because yeah, this will be an interesting book club conversation. Now, I do have 3 other physical books left on my TBR, and I feel like this has been the theme for December, is I feel like I haven't read a ton of books. Once I finish The Dragon's Promise, that will actually be the 4th like physical book that I've read this month, because all of my books have been fantasy, meaning they've been extremely long. These are the books that are left on my TBR. We have Iron Flame first. Now, Iron Flame, I've just accepted that I think I'm just gonna read like little bits at a time and get through it when I get through it. There's no way I'm gonna fly through this book. However, these 2, I feel like it's gonna be a little bit easier to read them. I want to start with Children of Virtue and Vengeance, mainly because it's a trilogy, and the 3rd book is coming out in 2024. I thought it was a duology. That's why I read it for Duology December. This book is also under 400 pages, like barely under 400 pages, but the first book was like 520, so I definitely feel like this will be a little bit easier to get through, especially because I am really interested in this world. So I feel like after I finish The Dragon's Promise, and maybe just to give me a break in between Maybird or my really boring book club book, I would pick up this book. Now, Sunday, I will be traveling to my parents' house because the next day I'm traveling for work, so my final wrap-up is probably going to take place not in this usual setup, but in somewhere else. And if I somehow get through the majority of those books between today and Saturday, I'm then going to pick up Falheart Huntsman. As you can see, this is no small book. There are a lot of questions I have after reading Foul Lady Fortune, so I feel like this is a really excellent duology anthology for me, but not one that I'm actually confident I will be able to finish during the readathon, but then hopefully lead me into January. And then because I am traveling so early into the new year, I definitely know that when I want to edit these clips, I'll be listening to an audiobook, and that will take up some time away from physical reading. But otherwise, I have the majority of my social media content set, so I shouldn't need to work on too much. I'm going to see how many hours I can get in today and tomorrow, and then kind of determine how I want to use Sunday. So Sunday is really my flex day. It might be physical books, it might be audiobooks. I'm not 100% sure, but as always, I'm determined to get over 24 hours. I also do want to get at least another book buying credit or two, especially because I always buy my book club books physically, so I feel like I want to make sure I'm able to buy those. And I am carrying my book buying credit system into the new year. So currently I have 10 book buying credits. It might go down to 9 today, but we'll see once I get to Barnes & Noble. But then I feel like if I have 9 and I'm able to read 2 more physical books over my TBR limit during this readathon, then I'd be at 11. And I feel like there's a lot of books that I want to pre-order next year. So I feel like I need to make sure I keep my book buying credits nice and high. We'll see what happens. I'm interested to get started. It is currently 7:09. I am making my breakfast while I've been recording this, so I'm definitely going to eat that. And I don't know if I'm going to try to read The Dragon's Promise while eating, because I really want to finish that one, or if I'm just going to jump into the audiobook. I'm not sure, but I will definitely be checking in at some point during midday today because my dog just got surgery. So I have a few more breaks planned into my workday than I usually do because I want to make sure that he's being taken care of and that he's okay as well. Let's go get started. All right, I'm in our garage, ready to go to Barnes & Noble. I didn't realize that the sale was done today. Oopsie daisy. But I still want to get this book for my friend. I think it'll be a really nice gift. And then I know I have to pick up one more book because of an author I'm going to see next month, and I want to make sure I have his entire discography. I've already listened to his books, but I want to make sure I have physical copies. And then I don't know, probably browse, relax a little bit. We'll just kind of see what happens and where everything goes. So for the readathon, I'm a little over 3 hours in. I did finish The Dragon's Promise in about a half hour this morning, so that was really exciting. We have one physical book down. Now I've officially read 4 this month, and I'm convinced I'm going to be able to finish, 1, maybe 2 more this readathon weekend. And I am pretty far into You Again. I'm really enjoying You Again. I feel like it's an interesting take on a romance, like a little more serious than I was expecting, and definitely feels a little more adult, not necessarily in a spicy sense, but in just like maturity with issues. I'm really enjoying it. I am going to keep listening to You Again all the way to the bookstore and whatnot. It's about 40 minutes from me, but again, I really want to do this for my friend and then also get a book for myself. So let's go. All right, we have finished You Again. I really enjoyed the book. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like I know what most contemporary romances are about going in. This one did surprise me a little bit overall. I feel like it's just like a 4 out of 5 stars, maybe even a 3.5 for me. I kind of didn't like how it ended. I was hoping it would go one way and then kind of went the opposite. I don't know. So now we're on to Wretched. I think that's how you say it. I don't know why I'm having such problems with that word, but I'm not too far into it, but I plan to listen to some more of it tonight. Then I did read more of Maybird Warrior Princess. I think I read about 40 more pages. I feel like I'm definitely going to fly through this one, especially tomorrow. I do have to read my other book club book. I don't know when I'm going to read the book club book tomorrow, but I knew it was definitely not going to be tonight that I was going to pick it up. So my eyes are getting pretty tired. I think it's just been kind of a long day, but excitedly enough, we are over 7 hours into the readathon, which is really good for a Friday. I feel like any Friday that is over 5 hours is a really good Friday. So my plan now, because my eyes are just so tired, is I'm just going to listen to Wretched, see how that goes. Seems like a pretty short audiobook. I might have to quickly rent another one, so I might kind of scroll through Libby for some options while I listen to Wretched tonight, and then we'll see where I end up tomorrow. Tomorrow is definitely going to be like a rot day for me, where I just sit, don't do much, get really comfy, and just like read books all day, because then Sunday we have to do like packing and traveling and all of that, so I definitely want to just have like a nice little relaxing day. Here's to day 1. Let's see what day 2 brings. All right, it is bright and early as it usually is on Readathon day 2. As you can see, this is Bear. I am taking care of him. He's not really feeling the best. We've just been hanging out, but I've been still able to read and listen to my audiobook. Wretched is about an hour and 15 minutes in, and I don't know, I do think so far it's better than Hooked. I think Hooked was just such a weird start to this series, and I also wasn't expecting Wretch to be Wizard of Oz themed, so that was interesting. I thought everything was going to stay within the realm of like Disney princesses, so to speak, so I definitely think that is a change. Again, not bad. I don't know if I'll like it as much as Scarred, but we'll just have to see. The plan for today is to really just like be on this couch and finish books. Maybird, this is going to be my first focus for the day, and then I'm going to move on to my book club book, which again is by Wednesday Books, which is an imprint of St. Martin's Press, so I'm not really going to talk about it. However, that book is boring. That book is just boring. So I might need to start Children of Virtue of Vengeance as a reward to myself every time I finish a chapter or two in the other book. That's kind of the plan. I'm currently at 8 hours and 7 minutes, which I feel pretty proud of to be at this amount going into the second day of the Readathon. Again, the goal is to always get 24 hours, and that might be what I do in terms of this specific Readathon, just because I do have to get ready for travels, really make sure I have everything prepared in terms of social media content, which I should. I think the only thing I maybe don't have are pictures for my next 365 days books, and maybe doing a little research on them, but I feel like that doesn't take a too long amount of time. Really hoping to get through some other books, especially the 2 physical ones that I have, because if I get through those 2 physical ones, I will be back up to 11 book buying credits, because yesterday I did go to Barnes & Noble and I bought The Maidens because I am meeting Alex next month. So I wanted to have both his books physically. I've already listened to this on audiobook, and then I already have The Silent Patient physically. So, and his next book, The Fury, is the one that I'm going to a book event for. So I don't really need to obviously buy The Fury ahead of time because it comes with it. I did apply for an audiobook arc of The Fury, so I might get that. I don't really know. I applied for quite a few arcs during the holiday season. We'll just see who comes back. I did get 2 that I'm pretty excited about, so we'll just kind of see what happens. But on to this day of reading. I hope there are a lot of clips of me reading on this couch and finishing books. Day 2 of the Readathon, I feel like has actually gone by pretty slow, but I feel like I've accomplished a lot, which is good. I'm really enjoying having this Readathon time, and I feel like I'm even looking more forward to continuing to read books than how I actually felt this morning. So let's talk about everything I read this morning. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon. We've been reading for about 15 and a half hours. So I'm fairly confident to get to 20 hours today, because I don't usually go to sleep until 9, maybe even later tonight, just based off some of the books that I'm reading. I feel pretty good about the length of this readathon. I don't know exactly how tomorrow's going to shake out yet, but I am very proud of my progress so far. I did end up finishing Maybird, Warrior Princess. This is definitely my least favorite. I wish this had been some type of duology. I don't feel like this needed to be really its own book. I felt like there was, a lot of build up. The final conflict is done pretty quick, especially for it being a trilogy. So again, this was definitely my least favorite. I loved the first book so much. I guess the magic just didn't carry through to the end of the series. This is also definitely below that I'm not the target audience for this. The main character is 13, but I did really like the first book, and I thought the second book was pretty good too. I don't even know if this third one necessarily was necessary, but it was definitely some type of read where I wasn't completely bored the whole time. Again, this is our Wednesday book for book club. I don't know. It was not for me at all. Let's just say that. I did tab it so I can talk about it in book club, but no. I'm very glad I'm done reading this. To keep myself awake, because I usually feel like I nap between the 1 and 3 o'clock time period, I did end up picking up Children of Virtue and Vengeance. I am not too far into it, but I still feel pretty proud for even starting it and picking it up. I'm loving this so far. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm liking this book already more than the first one, and I feel like there are already twists and turns being taken in the series, so I literally can't wait to get back to this, and I'm really happy I picked this up. I could see myself potentially finishing this between today and tomorrow, because I am really enthralled in this world, and then I really don't know what exactly I would pick up next. I know I talked about Fall Huntsman, but I'm also traveling on Monday, and I don't necessarily want to bring the biggest book that I would be reading this month with me on the plane. So I don't know. I kind of got to think about that there, but I am really liking this. This is a second in a trilogy. I thought it was a duology, but the first book is Children of Blood and Bones. I gave that a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And this is really good so far. I've also made progress audiobook wise. I'm about 3 hours into Wrecked? I don't know. I should really know how to say that. But I'm about 3 hours in. I am still liking this one more than Hooked. I don't know if I'm liking it as much as Scarred quite yet, but I feel like at least it's definitely not going to be my least favorite in the Never After series, which is pretty good. And then when I was on Libby, I did see that one of my other books came off of hold, which was Legendary. Do I need to listen to another fantasy book? I don't, but I am interested in the world of Caraval, and so I do want to go back to the series. But that's another reason why I'm debating maybe picking up something that's not fully fantasy as my next physical read, so then I can start listening to Legendary. So I feel like I'm definitely going to start Legendary at some point during this readathon, especially since tomorrow I think we'll have more audiobook time as well, and I'll still listen to some of the audiobook today. So that's why it's like, oh, do I want to pick up another fantasy? What exactly do I want to do? I don't feel like there's quite a bit to think about, but I'm super happy because now in terms of book buying credits, I am back to 11 book buying credits. That makes me super excited, especially going into the new year with a bunch of books I want to pre-order. So that's really exciting. And yeah, for the rest of the day today, I do plan to do like very, very minimal chores. And I mainly plan to read my physical book, which this is like 100 pages shorter, I think, than Children of Blood and Bone, maybe even more than 100 pages shorter. So I feel like I'm reading this at the pace that I was reading a 500-page book. So I feel like I definitely will finish this pretty quick. Again, really excited to get back into this one, and we'll just kind of see where the evening takes me. Like I said, I really could see myself hitting 20 hours today, so that's kind of like my new goal for today. And then that would also have kind of less pressure of hitting 24 hours tomorrow. So let's keep reading. I'm glad we have 2 physical books down, and technically 3 from finishing The Dragon's Promise yesterday, and then also 1 audiobook from finishing You Again yesterday. So I feel like this has been a pretty successful readathon so far. All right, it is the 3rd day of the final readathon for 2023. I have already done some audiobook listening and some additional reading today, getting very close to finishing Children of Virtue and Vengeance. I actually stopped before, like, I would say the final battle of this book. I don't think that's a spoiler. It's a fantasy book. There's going to be battles. So I stopped before the final battle within this book because I knew as soon as I got to it, I wouldn't want to put it down. So I'll definitely finish this at some point today, but the reason that I stopped is because I have some other activities that I feel like I need to do before traveling, because by this time tomorrow I'll be on a plane headed to a new state, and so I need to make sure that I get this video edited, that I do some other chores around the house, that I pack for said trip. I haven't packed for the trip at all yet. That's why I stopped there. I have been listening to Wretched. I still need to look that up, and so that I've been listening to that. Listen, they said the word milk. Can't do that. Automatic like half star off for me. That's like one of the I just can't do that word. I am not disliking it still as much as Hooked, but now it's like, where does it fall compared to Scarred? I'm still not really sure. So I have, I think, a little less than 3 hours left of that book left. And then again, I did pick up Legendary, the second book in the Caraval series, so that's what I'll listen to next. But my plan for the majority of the morning so far is I am getting all of my work clothes laundered up now, and so I'm going to try to do some packing, do some editing. There are TikToks I would love to film. I just don't know if I want to make those a priority today because I've already done a lot of filming. So I'm just gonna have to see how much of this video gets edited and then how much packing gets done. I'm definitely really excited to be traveling for work. I think it's a unique opportunity, but you know, it does throw off the little content creator schedule, which in general is fine, not a huge deal, but just something that I think about. We're currently at 22 hours and 25 minutes, so I definitely think that I'll make it to the 24-hour mark. Will I make it to the 30? I'm actually still not sure because tonight we're going to a New Year's Eve party. I'm not staying as long because I have to get to where I'm staying before I fly tomorrow. That means that there will additionally be about like 2 hours of driving, and because my husband and I have to drive separately because I have to, you know, leave the New Year's Eve party early to get to where I'm staying, then I know I already have 2 hours. So if I can get to 28 hours before even leaving for the New Year's party, then I know I'll be pretty set to hit 30 hours, which would be really exciting. I just don't know how much time I'm not going to be listening to books because I have to make sure all of my content is prepared for this week. That'll be really interesting. We'll see. I will keep you updated during the day, but I'm really hopeful to finish 2 more books, 1 audiobook being Wretched, and then to also finish Children of Virtue and Vengeance. I didn't say this earlier when I was talking about this, but I am liking this book even more than the first. I like the complexities that were added. This to me doesn't feel like a book that's just there to further along a trilogy. Like, I feel like it really has their own stories stories. I still don't think it's perfect in terms of like the romance aspects, and I had the same critique about the first book, but I'm still really, really just loving the story. So I'm really excited after some other books to kind of end with this one. And then in terms of what I'm going to pick up next, because I'm flying, I just want to kind of bring something smaller. So I have Prima Facie here, which is an arc that I need to read for the month of January. So I think I might pick this up already. And then I'm also bringing along some Magic Tree House books and potentially a Pendragon book also in my bag. I just have to see once I pack, but I feel like this is definitely going to be a priority because it's an arc and I want to keep good relationship with publishers. So I definitely want to read this. And luckily it doesn't seem terribly long. It's like 270 pages, which compared to the majority of books I've read in December, this kind of seems like a breath of fresh air. But also obviously if I bring Magic Tree House books, they're not long at all either. So it'll be really interesting to see how my year goes. I feel like I have kind of two long-term goals for the year of 2024. One is going to be reading and annotating the Pendragon series, which is like one of my favorite series. These are the new covers. I have the original ones high up above me, but this way I can annotate it and not get worried about, you know, ruining the original cover of a book, which is harder and harder to find. And then I also want to try to read all the Magic Tree House books. So I feel like with this trip starting on a Monday being the first of the new year, I really want to get my goals starting off right. So I feel like you're already getting like a sneak peek into my January TBR and what my plans are from here, but I feel like I already have to think of that because I have to pack. But first thing first, we're going to edit this video, and I can do my bigger edits of videos while listening to audiobooks, so that makes me really excited. So I should be able to do that along with some other chores in the meantime, and then I'll probably give an update sometime in the afternoon and see where we're at. I'm really hoping I give you a 24-hour update very, very soon, and also have been able to be productive with editing, packing, all of that, but we'll see. All right, this is the final update I'm doing from this space, so I'm gonna have it be more of like my official closing, and then I will tell you in the next clip at the very end how many hours I actually end up listening to books. So this is my stack of books that I finished during the readathon. So happy, so excited. I know I've already talked about most of these, but I haven't talked about finishing Children of Virtue and Vengeance yet. Yes, I did finish it. I'm proud of myself. This was also over 400 pages. Oopsie daisy. Feel like I've read a lot of pages this readathon, which is pretty exciting. I really enjoyed this. I am mad at myself that the third book isn't out yet, but at least it's coming out next year, so I'm very excited to add that to some of the books I'm excited about in 2024, which is hopefully going to be a future video sometime in mid-January. And then I finished Wretched because they said the word wretched at the end. Thank goodness. I was going back and forth. I definitely don't think it was the worst of the Never After books. I don't think personally it was as good as Scarred, but I think it's at about like a 3.5, maybe like a 4, but I feel like I got to think about that one just a little bit longer. But I am super excited to be able to finish 2 audiobooks then, and then now I have started Legendary, so I'm a little ways into that, and that is what I'm going to listen to as I drive to our New Year's Eve party and then drive to my parents' house. And then I have a few little things to wrap up at home, which I plan to do while listening to an audiobook. And right now we are at 27 hours and 36 minutes, so I am really hopeful to get to 30 hours because the drive to the New Year's Eve party is about 45 minutes, and I have to stop and get gas, and I'm going to stop and get a little drink, a little sweet treat, and then the drive from the house to my parents' house I think is about an hour, if not a little bit longer. So I feel like I can definitely hit 30. I'm not picking up another physical book like officially for the readathon. However, if I do feel like reading some type of book when I get to my parents' house, depending on how many hours are left at the day at that point, I might pick up one, but I'm not really as inclined to because I did end up taking a nap because my eyes got so tired. So I did sleep for like 40 minutes of this time that has been elapsed. So I am super excited for 2024. I want to rearrange my entire bookshelf again. I want to talk about all the books I got in December. I want to continue to meet authors and have hopefully some fun content, some more reflective content too over books. We'll kind of see where the year goes. I've been consistently posting on YouTube for officially a year now, which is really exciting. And I don't know how long that consistency realistically is going to go into 2024, but I'm hopeful. We'll see. I don't know, but I hope you stick around for that. And don't forget, stay for the next clip so you can see how many hours I actually read during the readathon. But I hope you had a good New Year's, and I can't wait to see where the rest of 2024 goes. All right, I made it safely to my parents' house, and we got to 30 hours for the last readathon of 2023. So excited to see what 2024 brings. Bye!